Live from the Big G's Pizza Studio on Clark Street, this is 5 Songs with Friends, Chicago's music discovery podcast. Nicotine Dolls formed in New York City in the summer of 2017, combining their diverse musical background and aesthetic to create the soundtrack for Paranoid Adults. Through DIY touring and consistent city shows, Nicotine Dolls have used that music to develop the high energy and passionate shows that they have come to be known for. I have Sam of the band here. What's going on, Sam?
Nothing much, man.
Okay, well, dude, I'm
really
super...
great description.
Oh, well, I mean, you guys wrote it up, so, I mean...
Yeah,
pat
that's
yourself
true,
on the
that's
back there. I like it. Fun stuff, man. So what's going on? Tell me about Nicotine Dolls, dude. So you guys are a 4-piece in New York. What's kind of the genesis of the band?
Yeah, so I, for a couple of years, there was like a weird time where I was doing a musical theater show, right? And it was you played, the actors in the show played instruments. So one of the dudes in the show, John, we were talking when we were doing it, and I was like, I'm probably not going to do musical theater after this, but I want to start a band, and you're a dope guitar player, so let's do that. So we started the band, and then the rhythm section just came through like trial and error. So John and Abel, we just had so many drummers and bassists keep falling out, and then John and Abel came, and it was perfect. And then we just started playing around and touring and doing as much stuff as we could do.
Wait, so how did you get into musical theater? How does one even get attracted to that?
So, well, yeah, like I was doing, on my end, I was doing the music thing in New York for years. Like I spent 3 years playing music down in the subways, and then I was not making enough to pay my rent and had to get a job. And a friend of mine was like, "Oh, you should sing on stage to like a story." And I was like, "Yeah, I'll try that." It was just like a friend's suggestion to me to make some cash, and it worked out. Like I did like a couple of years. It was like consistent job doing that. But then I'm not like the biggest musical theater fan. Is the issue?
Right. Well, so tell me a little bit more about like this busking thing you were doing in the subways and stuff. Like, what was like? Do you have any like really cool stories or like any maybe interesting, interactions?
Yeah.
I
mean,
you'd want to share?
I did that for years, and it was crazy. Like I made enough. I think it's pretty cool. Like I made enough for 3 years to kind of pay my bills, to the dollar pay my bills. But yeah, I've had like the weirdest. I had a guy come up to me. He was a homeless guy, but he just came up and he stood right in front of me, and he made really direct eye contact. And I was like, "What are you doing? Because I feel like you're doing something." And then he just he shit his pants.
Well, how did you?
He just stood in front of me, shit his pants, and then didn't move.
What do you
just
even?
Like dead in the eye.
What happens? Like, who wins that? Did you win the stare down or did he?
I know he 100% won. I stood there for a while and just kept playing Wonderwall, and he was like not moving. So I was like, "All right, dude, you win."
So what I'm hearing is Wonderwall has the brown note in it, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly.
somewhere in those 3 chords.
Yeah.
That's so funny, man. So that's cool. So you guys started Nicotine Dolls about 2 years ago, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
And so have you guys had a chance to get into the studio and make a full length or EP or anything like that to this point?
No, so we actually tomorrow we start the EP. So we're in for 4 days, and we've been kind of like, our last single that we put out, Fake, is by the same guy. So we have 2 producers on the record, and we've been working for a while on like, do we want to do a full length? And we've been just kind of like doing singles at Tarkin Studios in Connecticut, and we're working with Greg Giorgio, who is the engineer and mixed like a bunch of the national records and did Frightened Rabbit and,
oh wow,
Interpol and Gang of Youths. Like he just did the last Death Cab for Cutie record.
That's
so
badass.
he's like a super cool dude. And then Eric Sanderson who was the guitar player in Augustine. So the two of those dudes have been like our guys, and we're going in this weekend to do the first like 5-song EP.
Nice. That's awesome. I'm excited to see the result. So how do you guys get shows? Because you said you have, in your bio, you mentioned you have consistent city shows. Maybe for like some tips you have for people out there that don't have like a final product, like how have you guys been getting shows?
Yeah. I think the thing to do is, one, to go to shows. Like, go to your friends as much as, like, I think a lot of the times when your friend's like, hey, can you come to my show? If you're a musician, you should go, because then you'd be like, even if they're not great, afterwards you go up and you do that thing where you're like, you guys are great. Also, who's the person you talk to get this show? And then you find out who they talk to. But yeah, it's just like go to shows, talk to the bartenders. Bartenders are a big one. That's how we booked some of our first shows, was just like talking to bartenders and being like, hey, do you guys have music here? And they'd be like, yeah, sure, email this person.
Nice. So a little bit of hustle,
that's
networking.
Like, yeah, exactly. I think that's like as much as things like switch and change and stuff, the root of it will always be like network, like know people, just like meet as many fucking people as you can.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're kind of have a pretty good skill set at that at this point. I mean, if you've been hustling, making music work for many years at this point, it seems like you've kind of got it down to a science to a certain extent.
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, it's obviously. I mean, I've been doing it for. I left high school when I was like 17 to go do music, so I've been doing it for 10 years, and we're just starting to like move a little bit, but it's crazy. Like, you work every day like it's gonna happen tomorrow. Like tomorrow is going to be the day that things really start to move. But if you work every day like that, maybe in 10 years, like it starts to move a little bit.
Wow, man, dude, that's fucking awesome. I hats off to you for staying true, staying course, doing what you love, and putting full force energy into it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I love it.
Dude. Well, so let's talk about it. We got an awesome song here today, a song called "Burning a Good Thing." You've submitted it in the fashion of this Tiny Desk concert submission. So can you guys tell me about the song and like what went behind the Tiny Desk and all that jazz?
Yeah. So one, I love Tiny Desk. I think they always have really interesting people, and like sometimes it may not, like they have like huge names pop up on there, and then they'll have like this weird like jazz funk band that maybe 3 people have heard of. Like that's a cool concert series if it's that diverse. So we did not do the contest last year because I didn't think we had a good enough song. And then this year we had Burning a Good Thing, which was I was seeing somebody, and I was very much in love with somebody else. So I wrote this song that was kind of supposed to be like a Phil Collins meets Africa type vibe, but with like a little bit of Haim on there. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we rehearsed at Pirate Studios in Brooklyn, and they do this thing where they like record the room whenever you rehearse. So we also, if we're going to play the audio from it, but if you watch the video submission that this audio is from, the camera, like the shot that you see in the camera, our tripod actually, like, we only had an hour to record this thing, right? Because of the scheduling of the studio. So I put the camera on the tripod, and the tripod just like snapped in half.
What?
So yeah, dude, I put the you have to like twist the camera on the top of the tripod, and then I twisted it, and the whole top of the tripod just goes like and breaks. So we took guitar cables and a lamp, and then just like tied the camera to the side of a lamp with guitar cables. And like we couldn't hear, like, I think some of the vocals on this, like the first line, you can barely hear because we couldn't hear the audio levels. So it was just like a shot in the dark audio on this. But it's cool because like maybe the first line of vocals are a little muffled, but the rest of it's okay. And this is a tune that's going to be on the EP. It's one that I really love. It's like catchy, but if you listen to it, it's also kind of sad, mm-hmm. Which is my favorite kind of writing.
Sweet. Well, let's play it. This is a song called "Burning a Good Thing" by the Nicotine Dolls.
Cup, sweat, desk. Song 2, 3, 4.
fight predictable destruction. Same man, same positions. But those breath out there for hurts. But in the back of my mind, I know you never find it. But in the back of my mind, I know you never find what you're trying to build. Burning a good thing on a love I don't know is real. Burning a good thing, someone that's not even near. Burning a good thing, I can burn away, watch me burn it up. Ever she's waiting for me, back alone, avoiding sleep on my phone. But if you choose to press it, this message is the message. You can love someone to love somebody else. Somebody you know, it's like my throat. It'll kill me if I let them go. Hey! Someone that's not even here. I'm burning a good thing. I can burn away, watch me burn it up. Burn it up. Burn it up. Burning a good thing. On a love I don't know is real. Burning a good thing. Someone that's not even here. I'm burning a good thing. I can burn away. This is the way I burn it up.
Burning a Good Thing, Nicotine Dolls. Yeah, fun stuff, man. That's a crazy turn of events, but like also like a microcosm for like your whole musical career, right? Like you just like say, fuck it. My tripod breaks. I don't care. I'm going to keep making it work. Like we're going to get this thing done. Like,
Oh yeah.
that's cool.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's like we had to like we were just on tour. We went to Texas, and on our last show, like we tour in the van that I live in. So I live
dude.
in my
No
van.
way. I used to fucking live in a van for a whole year.
and-
So dude, we can bond over that. Oh hell yeah. I love it. What kind of van do you have?
Yeah, man. I had a Volkswagen Eurovan, but I
Oh,
like
sweet.
built the whole inside out.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like I ripped everything out. It was awesome. But this is like it's also the van we tour in, and it's also like a piece of shit van. It is falling apart and has so many mechanical the sensor goes off every time you drive it, like the car goes beep beep, like it's braking. So we drove obviously we drove that all the way down to Texas. And then this band, every time something good happens, something bad has to happen. So we had a great tour, and it was our last show, and we're coming back to New York, and nothing happened with the car the whole time. And right when we start to get to New York, and we have a show in a couple hours, we're like, yeah, we have so much time. Our front left tire didn't just go out, it exploded. And then the spare tire underneath the car didn't fit the car.
Oh, no.
So we had to wait for a tow truck guy to take us to a mechanic in the middle of the forest. Like, it was insanity. And we ended up canceling the show, and then we had to. So here's the cool thing. This is speaking of networking. So that night we had to cancel a show, but we still wanted to do a show. So we were like, okay, we can't get to New York by 8:00, but we can get there by 11 o'clock. So what if we cancel the 8 o'clock show and then let's hustle for 20 minutes and book another show today at like a couple hours later. So because of the bands that we know and because we talk to everybody after every show, we were able to like cancel the show and book another
That's
show.
wild.
In 20
That's such
minutes.
a cool story, man. And like it speaks volumes to like your, once again, just like the hustle of this band. Like you guys will do whatever it fucking takes to make this shit work. That's the only way to do it, man.
100%,
I mean,
man.
like there is no other option, right?
Yeah, no, like you're either all in or it's like don't, or like join a
Hey,
cover
there's
band.
nothing wrong with that for all our friends out there in cover bands.
You know?
But yeah, that's so cool, man. Well, so tell me, like out there in New York, obviously you guys are very well connected. Can you, and I'm sure you have like a laundry list of awesome underground bands out there that you think people should hear, but can you give me maybe your top one or two that come to mind right now of like who are some bands people need to hear?
Yeah, the Penniless Wild, our band that we played with a couple times, and they put on like a crazy awesome show. So I'd say the Penniless Wild.
Is it the Penny Goes Wild, you said?
And then
Penniless Wild.
the Penniless Wild. Yeah, they're awesome. And then on the other side of that, because we've also done some stuff with like singer-songwriter people. So X Rowan is her name, ROWAN, Rowan. And she's like, her stuff, she has a song called, I forget like the exact name of it, but I think it's called Fuckboy. And that the second she was like, this song is called Fuckboy, I was like, oh yeah, you're cool. That's a great name for a song. And she just has this like haunting voice and beautiful.
Nice. Awesome.
songs.
We'll definitely have to check those out. Very cool.
Those would be our top.
I love it, man.
Our top senders.
So tell me, like, what does the future have in store? Obviously, you guys are going in the studio very soon, and then hopefully you'll put that out pretty quick. So, like, do you guys have kind of are you planning on doing tour things? How can people kind of stay in touch with all of the future things?
Yeah, I think the best way is that like we're most active on our Facebook and Instagram, but our website kind of keeps everything connected, and everything is just like if you're on Facebook, it's Nicotine Dolls. If it's on Instagram, it's at Nicotine Dolls. It's nicotinedolls.com. So we are putting this EP out in late June is the target.
Oh, damn.
And then that'll be, so that'll also have some video work. Like we're going to put out 2 videos. And then we're going to tour in August. We're going to do a Florida run in August. So we'll just do like an East Coast down to Florida and back up, and then we're going to go back in to do a single in September, and then we have everything lined up to start the full length in December is what we're shooting for
so
to start the full length.
Busy rest of the year then. Awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's going to be. We're going to be putting out some really cool stuff.
I'm very excited to stay tuned, and I can't wait to hear what comes out of all these awesome recording sessions. Dope. Well, dude,
Yeah,
Sam,
man.
thanks so much for
It's
coming
gonna
on
be
the show, man. This was a lot of fun. You bet, man.
Of course. Thank you for having me.